levels of play, and the karma as well.
Absolutely. So both these bans very important here. What's really interesting is that some teams are actually starting to prefer red side because they feel more comfortable on the handshake duo they can pick up. Sometimes giving away Viego and then going straight into the Ezreal Gwen. Also, Karma, one of those picks that kind of gets picked up first pick, so that one being banned away. Ezreal will be banned out here, so you won't see the Ezreal Gwen Viego handshake, I believe. Yeah, Gwen also getting banned out here. And I have to imagine this last ban here for Zeus will be reserved for that Viego. But this one's interesting, and Urgot actually being banned out here against Zeus, so top lane ban early on to make sure they don't have that powerful juggernaut up in the top lane.
Yeah, definitely wanting to target that comfort pick for Alorum, get that out of his hands. Now, I'm wondering, are they going to ban Viego, or are they going to tell Dare, like, hey, we're not that scared of it. Go ahead and first pick it. We've got a response ready. And they go with the Lulu. So getting rid of those hypercarry supports and the Lee Sin first pick. Now, I love this pick for a bunch of reasons, just with the flexibility of it.
Oh yeah, Lee Sin can, of course, go into 3 different lanes here. Whenever you're on the bans here with the Lulu and Karma banned out, this tells me that Zeus does not want this game to revolve around bottom lane. Kind of makes sense with the former LCS player up there in the top lane. They probably want to play topside this entire match. So looking to lock out the ability for Dare to play around their bottom lane, who played phenomenally well in their past games. So here we go, lock in the Rumble set. Immediate top lane or top side of the map lock-ins makes perfect sense so far.
Yes, absolutely. I think that Set has shown why he is a top tier pick at all levels of play recently. I mean, I was watching LCS and I saw CLG lock in Set, and then I immediately put my channel points to vote for them because of how strong this champion is right now, how flexible he is. He can go top, he can go mid. Some people are even trying to pull him out support, and there's just so much utility. You can pull people out, you can bring people in, and just be this menacing drain tank with your Haymaker.
Menacing is a perfect word. I see too many comparisons with JoJo as Bizarre Adventure to that set. Varus being locked in here, so probably looking at Thresh ban, something to limit the mobility of this champion. Of course, the weakest component of picking up something like Varus or the Aphelios is usually that you need the Thresh or the Tahm Kench, but here with 2 bans available, they might end up just looking to ban those 2 out here as we move into the second phase.
Yeah, and Senna, the last pickup for Zeus, very, very solid flex pick in the bot lane, whether you want it to go support or ADC. She's just incredibly strong, incredibly solid all around. You have that utility, and there's the Thresh band that you were talking about.
Yeah, it's just very powerful. Volibear being hovered here, might be worried about the possible flexibility of this Rumble pick to either mid or top. Another one of those picks that can kind of just go anywhere. So flexibility on both these rosters so far. I'd say the only thing we know for sure is going to be the Xin Zhao, honestly.
Yeah, the Xin Zhao should be going in the jungle, and I like this Poppy pickup. Or not Poppy pickup, Poppy ban, as it means your Lee Sin, your Xin Zhao, they're going to have that much more safety. There won't be this additional disruptor that Zeus could try and flex out.
Yeah, that's nothing so terrifying as trying to look for engagement on Lee Sin or Xin Zhao, just knowing you're just going to get popped up in the middle of nowhere. Once they have that dash being down, kind of like J4, they're just going to be stuck out in the middle of nowhere with no cooldowns and not where you want to be if you're a diver.
Absolutely not, as now we're getting a second round, and that's a Sejuani.
So this is an interesting one. I mean, so far outside of the Rumble, they kind of have a low damage composition here for Zeus. Sejuani, I believe, is really only viable in the jungle, so this is telling me Rumble in the solo lane, Set also being flexible in the solo lanes are going to kind of be able to pick their matchups here. Sylas being picked up here, so I like the response. Very strong ultimates on the side of Zeus. So Sylas being in this last rotation, very intelligent. Of course, that will, I believe, then mean Lee Sin going top, but again, flexibility in both these teams' solo lane matchups, so they can kind of pick and choose they want to take these champions.
Yeah, we probably won't get confirmation as to where everyone's going until we get into game, because looking at them, I see 2.5 junglers on Zeus. I see 3 flex picks on Dare's side, and all in all, just some really, really interesting compositions that I feel they do a lot of things, but not one thing all too well.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're exactly right. They got the Varus for poke here on Dare, along with the Seraphine. Great teamfight initiation through the Sylas and the Seraphine ultimates. Xin Zhao, Lee Sin both being great divers, but again, it's not necessarily like every one of the team composition has a singular identity. I'd say both these teams are going to have very strong team fighting, so I'm expecting to see a very scrappy game here with lots of 5v5s around objectives.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both of these teams sort of wanting to front to back because they have decent front lines. You have the Xin Zhao, the Lee Sin, both probably going to be opting for the Gore Drinker Drain Tank type builds. And then I mean, there's nothing more true of a tank than a Sejuani. I mean, you've got her passive stats, you've got the giant boar and everything. So it's gonna they might have a tough time cutting through that, I'm going to say, because this Varus, if he's going poke, is not gonna touch that Sejuani.
Yeah, of course, you got some armor reduction from the from the Xin Zhao. You have the ability to kind of, I mean, Lee Sin now with that Bruiser build going Conquer has the ability to kind of just duel her out and be that sustained tank that can just fight her. But in a team fight situation, this situation is going to be very strong. Going to have to watch out. Make sure you have the ability to disengage or counter engage by using your Sylas and your Seraphine.
Yes, absolutely. Now, I think that the only picks that we sort of really haven't touched on all too much is going to be this Lucian that should be going into the mid lane. I say should be, as we won't know until we get into game. This set could be going bot lane, mid lane, top lane, all sorts of places. But based on this Lucian, if he is going into the Sylas, how do you think that's going to work out for Dare if they're going to really probably have a rough time laning into that matchup?
Yeah, it's really tough. You have the better early game jungler, so assuming we can get the Xin Zhao on the map, in theory, Xin Zhao in this matchup should be looking for a 3-camp clear off the start to make sure that he can, because he's going to lose in the full clear to the Sejuani. You want to get on the map earlier, so looking to probably either skip over his Krugs or just go for a 3-camp. Probably what we're going to see here, and then see him really start to exert that pressure towards mid lane. But of course, it's going to be tough because if that Sylas can't get the levels, can't find the engagement, this Lucian could really just start to snowball this lead. If Sejuani does end up finding the counter gank, the 2v2 is very volatile for both these teams. So I'm looking for a lot of play around this mid lane matchup. Believe the Sentinel will be pretty safe in the bot lane with that long range, just looking to farm up some of these stacks. But yeah, very interesting matchup here for mid. Dare really have to be careful with the Lucian.
Yes, absolutely. I think that, if this Lucian gets ahead, if the Senna gets ahead, if the Rumble gets ahead, those are all very, very dangerous threats for Dare's composition, as it just offers so much.
One thing that's kind of nice for them is that with the Xin Zhao pickup, they can avoid, or the Crescent Strike so good at dealing with those long range damage abilities. Rumble will always be outside of that Crescent Strike. Senna will always be outside the Crescent Strike. If your Illusion drops the Coaling, you can just Crescent Strike and walk away. So lots of things for him to be able to block out and mitigate that damage incoming. Really be necessary here to make sure that he doesn't get picked or taken out too much, as he needs to be diving with the Lee Sin and with this Sylas.
Yes, absolutely. As we are now on the Rift, these squads finally taking it, and we have confirmation as to where all these flex picks are going. And Alorum is taking Sejuani top. I just got word from our producer that he's been playing quite a bit of that. And I mean, I'm going to say I've got a buddy, one of my friends that I queue alongside, my roommate actually, he's been bumping Sejuani top as well and says it's really surprisingly strong.
Yeah, it's super interesting. If I'm full transparency, it's a matchup I'm gonna be very unfamiliar with, a little bit unorthodox and definitely very new. People have kind of been running Sejuani mid, pre-rework, able to build a little bit more AP. But I believe this will pretty much be a full tank Sejuani here in the top lane, and of course, very strong against the Lee Sin. Assuming she can avoid getting that armor popped, she'll be able to win trades. Assuming she can just start out the trade on her own, Lee Sin not be able to throw out abilities and just burst her down because there's just so much armor on that front end.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult for this Lee Sin to, do what he wants to do, have some of that lane pressure that he's sort of known for. And we're no early game shenanigans, nothing too crazy going on, as these junglers are opting for opposite side clears.
Xin Zhao starting top side is pretty interesting. I'm assuming this means he wants to, if he can fake leash this bot lane properly, which looks like they actually ended up going in lane, so Zeus should be aware of this. But if he leashes top side, moves towards bot lane and then ganks from below mid, that's usually the side that mid laners play towards in the early game because they're so used to junglers clearing bot to top. But again, it really just it's kind of going to depend. If they were able to call this out, notice that this bot lane got to lane a little bit too early, they should be able to sniff this one out and be pretty safe here in the mid lane.
Yeah, and that awareness, sort of understanding, where the jungler is, being able to keep, maintain that tracking is so key. Now, modified on top, hitting that level 2 early. Alorum tanking up with that aftershock, but will it be enough to dash forward? Conqueror got popped. It's going very, very low, but I don't think it should result in anything more than that. As up top, that early pressure, Lee Sin still having a pretty good time against Sejuani before she gets her items.
Able to get into the trade, land the slow, and just pop the Conqueror. That's gonna be really tough matchup for anyone to win, but this is exactly what you want if you're modified. I mean, we kind of talked about Alorum being this really strong player, and if you're able to get the, trade here in the bot lane, Practice takes a ton of damage.
Yeah, Practice taking lots and lots of damage from that set, just pulling him in and trying to knock him down. I mean, Senna set is just such a strong matchup, but in the jungle, we've got a bit of a brawl going down. Modified and Eric Jang trying to steal away this red buff. Dream Academy smiting it away. Now Dare caught maybe in the wrong spot as Modified a level down. Alorum coming in with the W. This is really looking rough. First blood already over to My Dream Academy as the rest of Dare is just trying to run away. Now Practice and Magi maybe looking to try and do something bot side, but this Set and Senna are just doing so much and making so much space.
Yeah, I mean, they got Prio here in the bottom lane. Invade would have been good. They had the rotation there early. I just don't think they committed to hard enough. If you have the numbers advantage, you either have to go smite the buff or just get out. And ultimately, it results in Alorum being able to rotate down. They managed to find a kill actually onto the mid lane here. Or sorry, onto the jungle here. And that's going to be super strong for Alorum, just able to get down, free himself up for this pressure. Know that he has some space here in the top lane now, as he won't be getting ganked, getting dropped so low early made him a little bit vulnerable, but coming back for his team here, it's massive for Zeus.
Absolutely. I mean, now he's got about a half a level, if not more, lead over Modified in this top side, which is honestly going to be pretty impactful and already opened up a bit of a CS lead, as while Modified was roaming down to try and support his team, Alorum was absorbing all that XP.
Yeah, I think another thing I'm looking at right now was just with that trade, it's going with a kill over to Rumble. Oh, we got a fight actually coming up here.
The flash forward from Rhino. Practice trying to stay alive, flashing back, going for the slow. Now realizing he's probably dead as My Dream Academy just going for the kill onto Rhino. Really great awareness. Practice picking up one. My Dream Academy on the back picking up Magi as it's a 2-for-1 in favor of Zeus.
Yeah, a little bit dangerous to Rumble to kind of go down there and try and pick up that kill. One did go down. There was a chance he was coming in. There's another gank in mid lane.
Yeah, gank mid. Eric Jang getting the knockup, getting the airborne, and the chain CC was just enough as Tuesday goes back to the fountain.
Yeah, that's a great pickup there for them. You really want this mid lane to get ahead. Getting Burn My Dread ahead will allow them to roam down to bot mid, or to bot and top, and really kind of take over the map here. As this mid jungle duo should be stronger than Tuesday and My Dream Academy on the Rumble and the Lucian.
Yeah, absolutely. As now Eric Jang already stealing away some Raptors, getting some harass down from Tuesday. Actually, lots and lots of damage. Eric Jang jumping back forward, but having to flash away, burning that summoner for just stealing a few chickens.
Keep an eye on those respawn timers and be aware of the teleports. I feel like it's been the name of the game this entire tournament. You gotta be careful. Make sure you're calling out those timers. It's almost always bad fights happening because a TP comes down from someone. They just get behind them and they manage to pick up 2 to 3 free kills that they shouldn't have gotten.
Yeah, now there weren't any kills going down, but still burning his in-house flash is pretty impactful. He can't do as much as you'd want to do on that champion. Now Magi trying to throw down a little bit of harassment, but again, this bot lane after that first engage, I feel like Practice and Magi can play it pretty safely. You know, you've got the Varus poke and you've got the Seraphine zone.
The only person in this game on the side of Zeus that still has their flash up in a lane is going to be this Senna and this Sejuani. If you're Eric Z Yang, you really want to take advantage of this. Make sure you can get to those lanes. Xin Zhao being the early game jungler really loves it when people blow their flashes either aggressively or defensively early. So make sure you can get to those lanes. No matter how they burnt that, make sure you can get some lead for yourself off the fact that they have burned that summoner spell and really abused that here in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to see some repeat ganks mid up against Tuesday. While Lucian is mobile still, without that flash, it'll be a little tougher for him to escape Burn My Dread and Eric Jang with their innate gap close ability. As Practice and Magi pushing up a little bit down in the spot side, as it seems like just a bit of a handshake right now with no junglers in the area.
Yeah, they're all busy topside fighting over these pink wards and getting some vision control. And the River Modified went down for that one. Knows he was a little bit vulnerable, so he's actually just head right back to lane.
Yeah, as this push coming down. Honestly, this is not a bad spot for the bot lane of Dare, and I've got a feeling they're probably just going to be pretty slow until the junglers make their way down. Actually, maybe not. Raheem getting rooted. Lots of damage coming down. That piercing arrow did so much, as I don't think that they were ready for it.
Yeah, and if nothing else, they now have Prio bot lane. They can go for this dragon, and also should be pressuring Raheem to either back. Just gonna heal up off a Gromp, I guess. So trying to stay in this lane, might be able to get at least one play off this. But if nothing else, they got the dragon. They have the lane advantage. They got Prio and bot. This is actually huge here for Dare.
Yes, absolutely. If you're starting to lose off top side, you've got that CS deficit. If you've got your mid lane who's, not super ahead, and your jungler who's a level down, it's big. But here comes the equalizer. My Dream Academy just burning down Eric Jang, and getting burnt down himself as all 4 members of Dare just collapse, but potentially another collapse out of Zeus. Alorum's in the area, 4 members all right around half health as Rhino is looking to try and find and engage. Alorum jumping on forward with the Frozen Bola, and that's big. Watch out, watch out. Burn My Dread trying to run away, but getting slapped right into Magi. It looks like that performance is over for the Seraphine as Alorum slays down Magi.
Oh man, you know, I was gonna really think that was gonna be a free getaway here for Zeus, but they managed to find the commitment. First to the draw of My Dream Academy with that equalizer. Didn't find too much with it, was just way too early without his team support to back him up. They just go in on him, managed to pick up the jungler, but really good dedication here from Alorum. Good awareness to chase over that wall, find that engagement, and they managed to pick up 2 kills off the back of that.
Yeah, really, really good job to, find something back after losing the dragon, losing that bot prio. Now, this should give them bot prio again, unless Eric Zhang wants to make a fight happen. W goes wide, but it looks like they're just trying to run onto Rhino. They know that that set ulti isn't there, and there goes the Chains of Corruption. They're trying to slap him down, but the Haymaker's still in the back pocket, and that yellow bar going to be enough to dissuade anything else. And actually, with Raheen getting chunked out, maybe not, as the Flash is forced out of the Senna.
That one smelled a little bit like miscommunication to me. I kind of saw Eric Ziyang dipping back and forth, not really sure if they wanted to commit to that fight too hard. Burn My Dread getting knocked really low here mid lane, but like I was saying, you need to make sure that you're either full committing to that engagement or you're just going to walk away. I think if Eric Ziyang stayed in that fight a little longer, he could have baited out a few more autos from the Senna, from the set. Maybe could have managed to secure that kill, but they burned the flash. Still very good pressure here in bottom lane.
Absolutely. Definitely want to keep that Senna on her toes. Doesn't have much mobility and doesn't have much extra, but now Tuesday getting ganked on. Burn My Dread jumping on forward. Equalizer coming down to take him out and equalizing those kills. My Dream Academy now just taking the flamethrower and burn down Eric Ziyang. Flash forward from Magi, trying to dissuade anything else from happening. Modified on the side. If Raheen and My Dream Academy decide to go for too much, the Lee Sin might be sneaking around, but that will be it. A 1-for-1 of mid laners.
Yeah, that is just what Rumble excels at. Counter ganking from so far away, drops the equalizer on the double melees, and just so happy to pick up that kill. Also pushing out Eric Ziyang, so let's make some more map pressure for them, as they know this jungler should either be resetting or just farming, as there's not much else they can do at the moment. So very happy to kind of take control here over this bottom side of the map, and also a big kill pick up there in the mid lane.
Yeah, absolutely, as we're seeing a bit of a lane swap out of the top and mid from Dare. They wanted to just sort of keep Modified in the area, as it looks like they might be looking for another engagement bot side. Rhino and Raheen. Raheen's still level 5, and Rhino getting hit with those Chains of Corruption, getting locked up. There's a 2-man encore, and here it's going big. Raheen's really low. The Modified just kicked away the Senna. That's never what you want to do. Not quite enough damage, and now they're just looking to clean up onto the set. The snipe comes down out of practice, but a missed kill onto Raheen.
Not gonna lie, I like the look. They managed to get the kills, but what do they get? They managed to get 1 kill. They forced out some ultimates and some cooldowns. Maybe burn the flash on the set there as well. But look at this. On the other side of it, it's Zeus. Oh, actually getting engaged on my mid lane.
Yeah, they're continuing to engage. They don't want to worry about this Rift Herald. Tower's already going down, so let's take out a kill. As now My Dream Academy also getting collapsed on. Now Burn My Dread with the equalizer. Is he going to use it? No need when a Rumble just gets popped right out of his mech suit.
So this is a really good response actually here from Dare. This is exactly what you want to do. Despite the Rift Herald getting put down mid, you find some more picks for yourselves. And while they're not getting any objectives, they're still punishing the takes here from the side of Zeus. So very good play. I like the look to counter this aggression, countering the Rift Herald on mid with 2 pickups for themselves, getting some more pressure, getting some more CS. They're just trying to kind of quell this gold lead, make sure it's minimized as much as possible.
Yeah, and I mean, I think just about all of this gold lead is coming from the fact that Burn My Dread only has 38 CS 11 minutes in.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, that's the power of the Lucian in that melee matchup. Sylas definitely never really known for having that super strong early game, and while we did see some early ganks here from Eric Ziyang, it just wasn't enough to maintain that CS lead. And on top of getting plates, as well as first tower gold, I believe, going over to that Lucian, at least part of it, that is going to be massive here for Tuesday.
Yeah, it does just sort of help make up for the 0-3, but now Alorum jumping in on our Burn My Dread, a really good chunk of damage coming out of Sejuani with just those base damages. But again, a lot of gold on a Sejuani is not necessarily as impactful as maybe a lot of gold on your Lucian, as this Lucian has been relatively shut down. 0-3 and 3, that's not what you want out of someone who's supposed to be your mid-game carry.
Yeah, I'm looking topside right now. I kind of like the lane swap here from Dare. Putting this AP threat up into top lane after Sejuani had stacked a little bit of armor and is moving towards those heavy armor items might enable him to kind of go a little bit more even than the Lee Sin would in this lane, since there wasn't really a huge lead generated for that top lane Lee Sin. And by rotating the Lee Sin to mid lane, you now have a very mobile threat that can come down here to bot, look for a gank to match the Xin Zhao, and really increase the power of this dive.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like they are going to try and set up for dive or just set up for dragon, as priority is locked up for Dare bot side. And they've already started up the dragon. Eric Zhang already cutting away, 1k HP down. Teleport coming through from Alorum. They want to fight this, but on the back line, Burn My Dread still coming in. Now, Rhino jumping on in, charging through. The massive Haymaker stay alive as now this is just chaos everywhere. The Senna doing what she can. Shut down from Tuesday onto Eric Zhang, and what was initially Dare's Dragon Call results in 2 of their members going back to the fountain.
Yeah, that was massive AoE damage. Equalizer coming down in that choke on top of the Senna ultimate into that choke. That's just rough time here for Dare, as it couldn't filter through that choke point. They didn't want to fight this front to back either, as Alorum just so tanky on the Sejuani made it so dangerous for them to do just that. But they're looking for this fight.
Yeah, they're looking to keep on going. There's the Bola, there's the stun, there's the kill onto Raheen, but now the question is, can they get more? Magi and friends in tow, but it looks like they're just going to try and pressure out this bot side as much as possible.
Yeah, meanwhile, on top lane, you got Tuesday pushing down this tower, get plates for himself as well. So we really need some more answers back here for Dare. They have to find some objectives on the map, pick up some of these towers, some of these plates, but here comes the kill.
There's the dive, there's the kill, just absolutely melted, as now the Chains of Corruption land, and that's going to be another kill for Burn My Dread, landing the shutdown onto Alorum, and that's the response that you like to see as they pick up and punish the overstay.
Yeah, I'd absolutely call that oversight there on the side of Zeus. You got 2 people on the map, and they are nowhere near you. Your two champions that you know of are underneath your tower, and you see Dare here with 4 champions and 1 in the Fog of War. What are you thinking? You're going to be able to hold that tower by sitting underneath it. They're just going to go for the dive. They have the cooldowns. They didn't use any of that team fight. They find 2 pickups and a tower for themselves. This is exactly what Dare needs.
Yeah, that is massive. Helping claw back some of this gold lead, as some of these members are just starved for gold. I mean, still only 53 CS this late into the game. Burn My Dread is looking to pick up as many kills as possible.
Yeah, I mean, getting some down gold there will also help him out a little bit. Derek sees that you need to be careful in this tower, though. There's a whole squad coming up.
Yeah, there is the whole squad. Burn My Dread on the back end coming to support, but again, this is just Zeus playing the map a little bit more. They might have a kill deficit, but a gold lead, as every time that Dare goes for these proactive plays or these other team fights, they've always got a member on the side doing something else.
Yeah, this is something we actually saw recently in Mercenaries versus, was Supernova. Mercenaries is so good at finding picks and finding these kills, but it doesn't mean much for your gold lead or your general ability to control the map when you're not able to find an objective afterwards. You gotta find picks that have meaning and then translate those picks into getting an objective, making sure you have prio before you go for it, so you can actually take those plates. You can take towers, neutral objectives, clean up the enemy jungle. It's what allows you to generate these leads, and it's what I think a lot of teams that are kind of new really struggle with doing.
Yeah, absolutely. The transition from solo queue, where you can just snowball gold leads, to a really fully macro lined up team environment, it's just a complete shift for some people where maybe this is their first time making a run at such a high level event. Now, I do believe that Rift Herald did go down in favor of Dare. Eric Zhang picking that one up, is now modified, just answering Alorum on the bot side.
Good pickup on the Rift Herald. This is something that will actually help them nullify this gold lead a little bit more. If they can find a tower somewhere, pick one up for themselves, and then continue to snowball it into a second tower, or at least just getting damage down so they can prep to get that inner turret or a T2 or an inhib tower would be massive here for Dare, but it'd be really tough for them. Possible engage setup. Ooh.
Yeah, the Chains of Corruption go wide, and that's going to be it for this fight. They're trying to do a little mini death rush, and one thing I'm going to say is that Rift Herald sort of makes any pick impactful, as now you'll just instantly have priority for whatever tower is nearby.
And no matter what, you're going to be at least take a chunk out of that tower, if not the entire thing itself. But Alorum actually forcing out, he's got the tower down here in the bottom lane modified, not able to do too much there. Might need some support here in this bottom lane to stop the split pushing Sejuani.
Yeah, modified still not having his mythic quite yet, not making it towards that Gore Drinker, as he's still sitting on components and really can't step up to this Sejuani. But now Eric Zhang and Alorum just sort of handshaking, saying hi, walking past each other, as nothing's really going to happen between these two tanks.
Yep, called for the help, but ultimately didn't have vision in the right place at the right time. Will be able to just dash on out of there. You know, those dang gap closers that are skill shots are just too hard for Zinzo to process sometimes.
Absolutely. You know, just a little too much. Oh my gosh, they have a jump forward. As now we're seeing the Rift Herald dropped mid. They're looking to exert as much pressure as possible and start to open up the map. But, you know, without any fight behind it, I feel like maybe that's a bit of a waste. Sure, you chunked out mid tower and Dragon's coming up in 15, but now your Prio's gone.
Yeah, that just tells me that they didn't see a way for them to be able to use that Herald. What you really want to do is try and, like you said earlier, get that pick. We have a possible fight breaking out here, so I might throw it over to you as Alarm's in trouble.
They want to try and collapse onto Lorm, and actually Eric Zhang still moving on forward, getting the knock-up, and now an additional slow, but the question is, are they going to get collapsed on the backside? I think Modified having to run for his life in the same way. Lorm finally getting locked up and stunned, using a lot of resources for that, but more importantly, Modified intersecting the center right into the Bears. Cleanse gets popped, but it's not going to be enough. It's Raheem's still alive, but not for much longer. The Sentinel comes down, massive shield for the team, and now Practice getting that kill. Haymaker dropped. Here's the equalizer, looking to equalize this fight, but Modified has something to say about it, saying, it's Monday, not Tuesday, as they get the kill, and Dare picks up this fight for Dragon.
Man, this is overconfidence here from Zeus, and they overstep massively. Sejuani Alarm on Sejuani getting caught up there in the jungle. A great pickup from Burn My Bread to throw that ultimate, snare him up, and manage to get that one. Turns this one into a 4 versus 5, and for some reason, Zeus opts to try and fight that one out. Ultimately, come up with a huge loss. They lose the Dragon, but Rhino just picks up Magi in the mid lane. I'm not sure exactly how that managed to go down, but not a great way to conclude the end of this small victory here for Dare.
Yeah, a small answer back from Rhino, just jumping onto the Seraphine, who was a little too far forward. I mean, you have to know, this is not a traditional support set. This is still very much, this is fasting Senna, so he's going to be going Stridebreaker. He's been CSing all game, and he's very much a damage threat.
I mean, I just also want to point out, getting this Dragon is also huge for them. Well, they got the Dragon, they're still down on gold. So every Dragon you get from this point on is stalling out Elder, allowing you to really pursue the late game win condition here of this of your engage in the team fights. The question is, can they outscale the power of a long range Senna? Their divers are strong, but they ultimately don't have that long of range. Senna got put in a little bit of a bounce house that fight, and that's what managed to take her down. If they can keep doing that, it's gonna be huge for them in these team fights, but it's a really tough thing to execute multiple times when you aren't fighting in the jungle choke points like they were before.
Yeah, very true. I'm going to say, I was surprised for how long Senna was able to stay alive despite getting put in, as you said, a bounce house. As now some grouping up top side, we might see another fight as Baron just spawning, and these teams want to make sure they have vision so no one can try and sneak it away.
Yeah, Alarm with no TP here makes me think that Zeus doesn't want to fight this one. Just getting some vision around the Baron here, making sure they protect the Lucian there on the top side as he pushes out that wave as well. And now it's looking at mid lane. Might be able to catch out Rhino, but Eric Zhang jumping in. Gonna probably bounce out of that one, but I mean, again, very low tower in mid lane. This is what the Herald did to it. They just need to get this thing off the map.
Yeah, but here comes the collapse from Zeus. Teleport's coming in. Encore goes wide, doesn't hit a thing. And now Tuesday on the side doing as much as he can, but Eric Zhang soaking it all up with that ulti. And Teleport's popped, but nothing happening quite yet. Shirelli is used by Magi to ferry the team out. And a lot of resources used, but nothing really happened.
I mean, they've managed to keep their mid lane tower alive. This is a lot to commit here for a tier 1. Kind of surprised to see Zeus pull the trigger on that fight and that teleport, more importantly. So that'll be one more teleport off the map. Set also with the teleport coming up here in just a second, so they will have another one. But they're sending 2 bot right now. This might, if they can find the opportunity, they can either get vision on this Baron, look for mid lane tower once again because they don't have the ability to push that one out. Burn My Bread going to be happy to soak up this wave though, as he, like you said earlier, missing on the CS a little.
Yeah, but will he really be absorbing it as Tuesday and Alorum are looking to shut him down? Everfrost coming in clutch, rooting them on up so that there was no chase potential, but flash burned by Burn My Dread.
Please let my man farm. He is struggling here. Some resources burned here, so might see the counter engage come down from Dare as they're looking to possibly chase out Alorum and Tuesday here.
Yeah, I don't mind this chase, but I think they'd rather just stay safe. You know, there's still a few members in Fog of War. Don't want to accidentally get collapsed on and throw any potential momentum you can try to build, as they are just going to rotate back towards mid and try and knock down this tier 1 once and for all.
3rd time's the charm. I hope so, as it has gotten so low. But again, it's Dare. They're so adamant and protective about this mid lane tier 1. They will not let this thing go down, sending 4 mid to clear out this wave and make sure they can't get even in range to auto the dang thing. Now 5 stacked up in mid. This might be the fight.
Yeah, Shirelius gets popped for the engage. Eric Zhang looking to go in onto Rhino, but here comes the equalizer. Beautiful choke point splitting off this team. Magi and Eric Zhang cut off from the rest. Alarm diving into the back line now. Who's going to be taking it on top? Eric Zhang tanking his way out with that ulti. My Dream Academy brought very, very low, but again, no kills quite yet as Modified lurking on the side, looking to try and make something happen. Raheen, maybe the target on up next as one charm comes down. Here's the fight, there's the root, there's the damage. His practice is on a killing spree, and now it is just falling apart for Zeus as they're trying to run for their life. Rhino staying alive, trying to use that Haymaker as much as possible and baiting out Modified, but now Burn My Dread looking to take down Alorum and punish him and say, you're not getting away, top laner for top laner, as you're right, third time is the charm, and how about a fight to go along with it?
Jizuke, is that you? The dashboard there from Modified getting a little bit over eager. But back in that last team fight, as they look for the Baron here, My Dream Academy had a great equalizer. They had the 4 versus 5, they just didn't commit to it. Lee Sin wasn't even in that fight, he was walking up. It's back. Still looking to get some burn damage down.
On to Burn My Dread, but now Rhino looking to collapse. This is a 2v4, very, very awkward, but Sylas with his helping deceiving Shirelia's pop. They want to be able to pick off this set, try and stagger as much as possible. Change Corruption gets dropped, and that should be enough. Oh no, the flash forward Haymaker as the shutdown comes through. And if you're Rhino, you're happy about that.
Yeah, that's rough, but you manage to stop the Baron. You find a kill off the back of it, going 1-for-1 with the shutdown. You're extremely happy about that one. My Dream Academy disrupting the back timers, being a rude guy over here is actually could have some impact. This Dragon now spawning. They are down 1 member, but these health bars are low.
Yes, they certainly are. This might be a Dragon you have to give up, but Eric Zhang still wanted to do something. Raheen getting chunked out, but remember, it is still a Senna, can still heal up. Modified might have to be the front line for Dare, but with Alorum making his way over, this is not looking good. Very, very low health bars, no Moonstone or nothing. Modified getting jumped on, Raheen getting jumped on as this is a split fight back and forth. Eric Zhang finally getting collapsed on, and Modified trying to do what he can, trying to run away, but still very low team members. Equalizer gets dropped on back to zone, and that should be enough. My Dream Academy picking up the Dragon, 2 apiece.
Yeah, both these teams scrapping it out, but sometimes you just gotta give up that Dragon. Your health bars are low, you use some ultimates, you got a lead, just be happy to reset. It's 1 Cloud Drake, you don't necessarily need it to really snowball this game. It's just more time off your soul. And you're the team that's behind, you shouldn't be worried too much about that. So I was really surprised to see Dare stick around for that Dragon fight and go for it. Eric Zhang trying to get something done on the backline there once this fight did get started up, but ultimately just unable to find any kills, and it was a great play here and a great capitalization on the fact that they managed to knock some health bars low, managed to drain the resources of Dare. They go straight for that Dragon, and now they're looking at Baron.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're still forcing resets as a few of these members haven't backed since that Baron attempt and that Wand fight for Dare, so they hadn't capitalized on their gold, and they had low health bars. So I think that if they just reset, maybe given up drag or given up a little more space, they would be in a better position, but it's still very, very tight. It's a 3k gold lead, but it doesn't feel like it, as Dare's been doing incredibly well in these fights.
I mean, I gotta give them props. Again, it's these equalizers from My Dream Academy that are just so big. They're creating huge zoning opportunities, denying the ability of Dare to walk forward with this triple dive threat that they have. And again, when they are looking for that dive, it's kind of Magi looking for that Encore to really carry the fight as well with that AoE CC. But unable to find it there when you have no mana, and I believe it was even on cooldown there, so it can be really tough for them to win a team fight. You need these ultimates available. That's what your strength on this team composition is. And if you don't have your team fighting ultimates up, don't team fight. Let the Dragon go. And now they're being punished for it. They lost a few members, they lost the tower, they lost the Dragon, and it really could have just been a Dragon if you had just committed to the resets, gotten back, and then looked to take over the map from there.
Yeah, as it looked like there were a lot of frenzied pings as Dare was maybe wanting to go in here, but good awareness by Zeus, not overcommitting. Eric Zhang jumping over the wall right into the waiting arms of Alorum as W gets dropped, and on the side, Tuesday is just split pushing, and there's no one to answer him.
I mean, who answers Tuesday here? 231 CS, he's got the Gale Force, he's got the Essence Reaver. This man is a threat in the side lane. Of course, Burn My Dread really struggled to pick up some farm of his own, so probably can't match the Lucian, especially being that melee. He can just kind of hide behind the minions, really weave in and out of that to make sure he can't get hit by the chains to really start off that engage. Modified maybe could do it, but again, skill shot reliant. If he misses that Q, Lucian just basically kites him out and takes him out. Here's the engagement.
Yeah, maybe Eric Zhang trying to run down Alorum, but this is a very tanky Sejuani. Not doing much. Now here comes the Equalizer. You're getting caught out, but that ultimate still blocking all the damage, so should be able to escape as the initial engage just sort of falls flat.
Yeah, Crescent Strike is so good against Rumble's Equalizer. I think it's one of the reasons that Xin Zhao has actually seen so much play recently is because people are picking him, making sure that they can have something that can deal with this Rumble. You just drop the Crescent Strike, and certainly that range doesn't matter, and the damage doesn't matter. You can just walk straight through an Equalizer to continue your dive, or just go for the disengage. So works out perfectly for Eric Z Yang. But ultimately, Alorum's getting so tanky at this point that despite being caught out occasionally by a little bit of CC, they don't really have the damage to just burn through them. If you commit cooldowns to the Sejuani, you're not committing cooldowns to your dive, and that can be dangerous leading these team fights.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't want to be overcommittal, but I mean, I'm going to say Zoo has just been playing the map incredibly well. They're always finding these positions where they can maybe bait out a few members of Dare and then just get a split push rolling. And I mean, Dare only has one tier 2 left in the top side.
Yeah, and I believe they want to keep Tuesday here in this bottom lane. He's got the teleport, can threaten that inhibitor tower, and the rest of this team will probably start to look towards going for this Baron. They have triple TP, so if they think it's an anyone to this lane, whoever they think will have the most zoning capabilities to either one, clear out these waves in mid lane and maintain prio, or just play around the Baron, nullify the vision that's on top of it here from Dare, and then look to take that once they have an opportunity and they send 2 to match the Lucian, or whoever's supposed to be pushing the spot lane. Looks like it will be the Lucian. Or, of course, in counter engage once you have the powerful pick tools on your team. But here it comes. Shurelya's getting popped.
Shurelya's getting popped. It looks like they want to engage onto Rhino, forcing the flash out. Now, team's a bit split. Alorum and Tuesday both caught on the back end as these teams are looking to try and set up for this dragon spawning in 30 seconds, contesting over vision as Dare wanted to go for a fight but couldn't quite find anything. But it looks like it's not going to be over yet. Rhino getting tagged up. Eric Zhang going a little low, getting chunked. And here comes the fight. Here comes the engage. The equalizer getting dropped. Rhino jumping on forward. The Stride Breaker. Watch out, watch out. He's jumping on in. And now a 2-man charm. Will it be enough, though? Burn My Dread having to root up My Dream Academy. Modified trying to clean up the kill. But that's not going to be enough. Jumping forward. Perfect flash out of My Dream Academy to escape. And still no one's gone down yet. Raheen with the Sonic Wave on him. But not going to be followed up as both of these teams members brought low, but nobody going down as the dragons spawned. And this is close.
Modify's got the TP on the top of this back, but Tuesday's dashing in.
Oh, this is big. Now Praxis is gone. Praxis is dead. Magi is next on the chopping block as they took that moment and ran with it. They saw Modified wasn't around and they said, we're going to engage, we're going to kill you, we're going to punish you, and now this dragon and the team fight is theirs.
And everyone's playing these team fights so slow. Eric Z Yang playing the Drain Tank game here with the Gromp Smite and still stayed alive here. Has Gore Drinker maybe, but no, you'll finally go down. But like I was saying, both these teams have so many survivability tools, but right there in that fight, Tuesday finds 2 kind of out on their own, immediately dashing forward. That was a great execution from Tuesday to make sure that they could go for that play. And oh my god, his flash is the dash is all over this wall. Modified might just...
Dragon kick kill onto Tuesday. That's actually really big. The flash forward from Machine that should be Modified dead, but picking off that mid laner and buying time, I mean, some of these respawns can come in for Dare and they can potentially try to challenge this Baron take.
Yeah, if that Lucian was still alive, this is 100% an instant Baron from the side of Zeus. Luckily, or not luckily, that was just pure skill here from Modified to make that dragon kick and that skill and that kill happen. Dragon going down here, again, I really feel like that both these teams are overcommitting to these dragons. You didn't really need to go for that once again. You could have just backed off, made sure you had the resets, made sure you had the fight that you wanted. It's not Soul. It is Soul Point. It's a little bit risky now to allow this one to go over, especially to a Rumble who will just spam out these equalizers given the opportunity. But again, would you rather lose 3 teammates and the dragon, or just a dragon? And they ended up, I believe, trading out 3. Modified eventually falling in that fight as well. So went down on the opposite side. Props to Tuesday here for, I think I want to finish this point from earlier, for just dashing forward, seizing the opportunity, getting that damage down once those damage nullifying tools in having a front line and having the Seraphine nearby to really heal you back up. Once those were gone, he just dashed forward, finds the opportunity, finds, I believe it was 2 kills for himself, as well as Rhino coming in on the side to pick up a second there on the side of that fight, and that really was what started them off. Modified was back, couldn't have recontested on the engage because that teleport was still channeling, so just a great awareness here from the side of Zeus and big pickups for them.
100% as now full team in force. Tuesday with the teleport. They're looking to try and pressure around this Baron. Burn My Dread picking up the Sejuani ulti. Now that's good. That is very, very impactful and has a lot of potential if they fight, relatively soon.
Have Prio in this bottom lane as Modified is shoving that one out, so might look for the fight here in mid. Tuesday, of course, has teleport, but if you can find the pick, you have the engage tools with this Anchor, with this Dragon's Rage, and here it comes!
Yeah, here it comes. They're looking to go in. Shurelya's popped. Raheen and Tuesday not a part of this fight, so looking to see, can we get the tanks down? Lots of ultis being popped onto Alorum as he is just soaking up every single one. The set jumping on in. Massive Haymaker, bringing 2 very, very low. Now Eric Zhang picking off Tuesday, putting him back under tower as Rhino just rampaged over the back line. Now Eric Yang barely surviving the tower. Modified, I think, getting more damage as it was just so close, but eventually Zeus coming out on top from a fight that was initially favored for Dare as Rhino is looking to take down this last member. Gore Drinker popped, not going to be enough, and an ace for Zeus.
And Eric Yang always makes it a funny chase. He's always on the way out with the healing that he has, trying to find ways to get creative ways to get over walls with the Xin Zhao. Almost makes it out, but ultimately good chase down here from Rhino. And also from Rhino in that fight, I'm not sure if you managed to catch it, Modified had dashed back to kick forward the Sejuani into the team, and Rhino caught him mid-ward hop and slammed him with the ultimate straight into the side of Dare. So good pickup there from Rhino. That's what actually forced Dare to overcommit underneath that tower and go for that dive, was because they couldn't displace the Sejuani. That was the pick that they were going for. Really good team fight here. Still on the side of Dare, you have really good pickups. They're finding picks. They're still trying to proactively team fight in this game, and they're definitely not out of it. As you can see, the power of these engage tools they have with the Seraphine Encore, with the Chains of Corruption, and with whatever ult Burn My Dread can steal.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to say, I think Dare's targeting isn't the best. Yes, you want to get rid of this massive front line in the Sejuani, but it's more important if you can take down the damage, because you can always drain her down later on, but if the Senna or the Lucian can just start slapping away at you, you're never going to win that fight.
Absolutely. So kind of looking at the resets here, still have the Baron on the map, still looking at Zeus to really take control here. They have towers down everywhere. They just need to get Prio, and they could look to really bait around this Baron, play in the fog, and play around Vision. And it looks like now they're starting to do just that, as they have 4 members moving towards it. I actually make that 5, as there's no one in a side lane here. Rumble moving down as well. So these teleports, while they're all available, they're just looking to really kick off a team fight here. They might be able to finally sniff out their own lead. Know that they have this gold lead, and they're really looking at team fight wins here.
Yeah, they want a team fight. Modified still not teleporting, as now Dare realize this is going on. Jump on to Tuesday, already brought very low. Equalizer comes down, and that is so much damage on the back line. Tuesday gets traded out, but isn't going to be enough, as now Modified and Eric Yang, the only ones left. Mind me, Burn My Dread still staying alive, still kicking, but it's going to be it. The Grievous Wounds are too much for this Sylas, and there's the power of that Senna hitting the late game.
Yeah, the engage for Eric Yang here was massive. Gets in the backline, disrupts the entire team, kicking one back towards the team as well, so they could just focus DPS on that target without worrying too much. But the equalizer and the counter engage was huge for Zeus. Mind Academy lighting everyone up, and of course Raheen lining it up with that Sentinel of Light ultimate as well, picking up so much damage, and I think 2 kills in that fight off the back of that ultimate combo. Completely turned it around, was super quick, and now they're looking at Soul, Baron, and this is looking more and more like a Zeus victory.
Yeah, it is looking convincing for Zeus right now, as you can't really try to take that dragon. Alorum was already threatening, and Modified was never going to be able to take down that champion. As now Soul in hand, Baron as well, they've got all the tools that they need to really try and start pinching this game closed, but there's still hope for Dare. You still always have, Chains of Corruption, Multi-Man Encore, but they're behind on XP, they're behind on items, and they have to turtle incredibly well and get the perfect setup, because there's so many threats. There's the Rumble, there's the Lucian, the Senna, the Set even. I mean, everyone except for this Sejuani can burn the entire team down.
Ooh, Alorum, not gonna be in any trouble. He's tanky, he's got the mobility. 4 are sitting up here in bottom lane. Alorum happy to pick up mid, just because Sejuani with this Sunfire Cape and with a few wave clear tools in her kit could pretty easily just make sure mid stays shoved in. And if they do go for the engagement, she's tanky, her team's got time to roam to her, or they just continue this push with 4 in bot lane and this giant wave with Baron. They're gonna force Dare back here to defend this inhibitor.
Absolutely, and doing a 4-1, great setup. It's so hard to challenge, so hard to push into, and with this massive minion wave, this inhibitor is just going down in an instant. As Alorum just running down practice, actually, and I think that's going to be it. Just a straight 1v1, and when the Sejuani is 1v1ing your ADC, you're never in a good spot. Eric Yang getting brought incredibly low, and now there's the Rampage. Rhino running on down like he's in the Savannah, as Burn My Dread getting killed by the Culling and Modified, the last man standing for his team, trying to kick away. Raheem not dying to the fountain either. Redemption getting popped, and that's going to be game 1 heading over to Zeus.
Tuesday took that Sonic Wave and just immediately flashed. Did not want to get yeeted into the fountain. wants to preserve the KDA, stay alive, so he managed to get away from that one. But this is the setup here. They managed to find the lead. They find all the objectives they wanted. Find one pick with the Sejuani there in mid lane. You called it out earlier. So tanky. This is not the pick that Varus can just melt through with this poke build. If he had gone for that on hit, then like maybe he's got a chance dueling her. But once you stacked up that armor, you got the Thorn Mail. You just have all the tools to run him down. If he doesn't have that flash, he's not getting away. So good pick up there from Alorm to pick off the AD carry threat. No more poke damage. They just push on through with the dive. Solid game plan here from Zeus and a well executed match.
100%. I mean, they understood their comp. They played it incredibly well, and they took some unorthodox picks and ran with it. I mean, I wasn't ready for Sejuani top, and even when Dare was, finding these fights, there was always something on the map that Zeus could pick up. They were always in a lane being able to split push. They were always finding these different positions that were just making sure they never fell behind. So even if Dare's winning the fights, Zeus was winning the map. And eventually, that's what this game is about. It's about winning the map. And game 1 over to Zeus, very well deserved.
Yeah, really good mid-game decision-making, I'd say, from Zeus. But the redeeming factor here for Dare is Eric Ziyang. Just popped off in teamfights. This man was always dashing forward, was always surviving to the maximum ability possible. I think there was only one fight that I could really criticize, which was that second Cloud Dragon, where he was in the backline kind of alone and his team was on the opposite side of the fight. But ultimately, he's creating massive diversions for this team. If you can enable Eric Ziyang to really, snowball one of these solo lanes, if Modified get really far ahead this game, if Burn My Dread get really far ahead of this game, it would have looked very different here. But ultimately, both the solo laners fell behind in both farm and kills. It became very hard for them to look for dives in these team fights later on.
Yeah, absolutely. And a team that needs to sort of be even so they can get ahead, we're always just a little bit behind. But I mean, hats off to Zeus for taking game 1, but I've got a feeling that Dare isn't going to go down easy, as we'll be right back after the break to see who takes game 2. Will it be Dare answering back, or will Zeus take the 2-0? Don't go anywhere. welcome back everyone to Risen Groups for Champions League. We just saw Dare lose to Zeus, but it wasn't, some convincing stomp. We weren't seeing Zeus just completely demolish them, but it was still rather convincing for Zeus as they understood how to play the map. They understood how to play their unorthodox picks, and it worked really well together.
Yeah, that was a surprise comp, with these crazy picks they managed to pull out. So they went with R1, they went with Rumble and Set. You can expect these to be able to flex between solo lanes and jungle and support in this case, as they ended up moving the Set towards bottom lane. In response, we saw a Sylas get drafted later on in the blue draft phase. Last pick here for blue, so B3 for them. But that was dangerous for them because this enabled them to pick up the Lucian, and then they had so many flex picks on the side of Zeus that they were able to just rotate everything around. The power here now, assuming Dare will be on red side this game, they do have the ability to pick and choose. We'll have to get put on that later. But if they are red side, they do have the ability to last pick that one, make sure that they can kind of dominate at least one of these side lanes by getting a good counter matchup. They have the flexibility with the Lee Sin. They could have moved that into different places. As long as you have this last pick, you can get at least one winning lane. And if you play around that lane, you'll be able to at least have someone you can send to stop that split pusher, but then also enable that person yourself to either split push or just take over the game.
Yeah, like last game, Tuesday was getting shut down mid, so they said, okay, Tuesday, go play bot lane. We're going to sit you on your own. You're going to farm up like crazy. And that's exactly what it did. And this Lucian became someone who was uncontestable. You couldn't send the Sylas because he was completely starved to farm that game. You can't send the Lee Sin because you'll just lose that 1v1 since you don't have enough damage. And then you're trying to force these, 4v4 fights, these 4v5s, and there's always the teleport, or you just lose a tower in the meantime.
Yeah, there's just a lot going on here with this composition. And, I want to, again, give a shout out to Eric Ziyang and the Xin Zhao. Great awareness with these Crescent Strikes to block so much damage. But ultimately, I think the rest of his team is just a little bit too far behind for him to really be able to pop off in these team fights. Just a little bit more damage. Stay a little bit closer in gold. Make sure that your picks, that you're expending resources, summoner spells, ultimate cooldowns for, are for purpose. You're finding objectives off the back of those, and you can snowball this game just as hard as Zeus did.
Absolutely. I think that if they just draft slightly stronger lanes so they don't fall too far behind early, it'll work wonders for them. I mean, we saw Modified going toe-to-toe with Alorum early on, punishing Sejuani's weaker early game, and we saw some kills coming out for Dare's mid laner, Burn My Dread. And I mean, Practice had some moments of greatness in the bot side, but it just was too little too late, it felt, across most of these points, that they just were a little bit off, or their team fights were just so close where they'd get a really good engage, chunk out the Sejuani, and then it would be just enough time for the set to rotate up or something like that. We're gonna have to see what adaptations do they make this game.
I think another thing that was really interesting was the fact that neither of these compositions, like we were talking about earlier, truly were committed to a single play style. You had some poke and some engage and some dive here on the side of Dare. You had team fight ultimates plus split pushing here from the side of Zeus. And really, I think I'd like to see from Dare here is refine the team composition so it has one solid identity and then play harder on that win condition. You see this with amateur teams, academy teams all the time where they really focus on this team fight pick composition style. And this team comp felt like it had a really hard to execute win condition while being so widespread amongst 3 different styles.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Not having such a straightforward objective, meaning that you have to find these creative ways, and it's so much harder to get back into the game. And while they did have those, really solid win conditions in the encore, in, being able to dive the backline, it's not truly consistent. It's not like Malphite, Shen, Galio or something where everyone's just in the backline at once. It's much harder to execute. Yeah, you get like Shen support, Malphite top, Galio in the mid lane, and a Jinx to round it all out, and that one just kills it. As we are jumping into draft, it looks like first ban out of Zeus is going to be the set. Interesting enough, as they were the ones who picked it up last game.
Yeah, one of their first round pickups last game. They really think it's a powerful pick. They do not want to put it in the hands of Dare. So even possibility here that they left it open last game, knowing that Dare would go for a priority pick on something else and then picked it up themselves to, have that kind of pseudo fourth ban where you can just take away a pick that the enemy team really excels on. Xin Zhao also being banned out. They do not want Eric Ziyang on that pop-off champion. Did a phenomenal job with that last game. As we see an Akali and a Rumble come through from the other side. So we'll have to see what gets handshaked away here with power picks, as there's still Ezreal, Viego, and Gwen all still available.
Yes, all incredibly impactful picks that can come through. Ezreal does get taken off the board, which means Viego or Gwen is probably going to be the first pick here. And, those are two very scary champions if they get ahead.
Yeah, yep, exactly like you said. Gwen getting first rounded here. It's always interesting to see which of these picks ended up getting prioritized by any teams. So Lee Sin is the answer. Dare wanted this first pick once again. They like the flexibility. And again, it's not like the lane has played poorly. Very strange matchup there in the top lane into Sejuani. Got the early advantage, but ultimately just Sejuani slowly builds up that lead. Very strong in the team fighting composition, had that pick potential as well. We see a very similar draft actually coming out here as it's Lee Sin and Varus coming up in the first round before the second ban phase in this champion select.
Yeah, and I don't mind the Lee Sin and the Varus. I mean, they showed how they work together, and maybe they'll understand, how to optimize their draft a little more and their playstyle a little bit more. But I'm concerned because this leaves the Viego open. This leaves just a lot of really strong picks that can come through, as looks like the round 2 is going to be Jhin and Gragas. Now that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, more flexibility here being picked up. I want to say Dare picked up this Varus earlier, maybe so they could get that Thresh, but no, going to opt instead to actually lock in their jungle pick. Gragas usually picked as an answer to things that to displace a team fight. When you have something like the Kindred, always such a strong counter pick into that to just throw everyone off the Lancer's fight with the explosive cask. So really interesting to see Gragas picked up this early. I'm curious to see which lane this one's actually going to end up going into, as again, we got flex picks everywhere here in this champ select.
Yeah, everywhere. But I mean, Dare picking up J4, I have not seen him in quite a while. I assume this is going to be going into the jungle, and he's going to be opting for a similar Drank Tank Gore Drinker type build that we've been seeing, on Lee Sin, not really J4, but sometimes on Rek'Sai and Xin Zhao, most notably, as we saw last game, where they're just able to jump in and be disruptive for so long. As the last few bans coming down do not want Magi getting their hands onto Seraphine and Lulu, and the Lucian and Poppy, again, very good bans out of Dare, I say.
Well, J Turbo, I'm a little bit of a J4 one trick myself, so when I see this pick, I can tell you a little bit about it. J4 excels at a few things. Level 2 is one of the strongest in the game, has the ability to go for those level 2 ganks early. Probably not something we're going to see here because the meta is just so farm heavy, but it is a possibility, and there is always that threat in lanes that they have to kind of play a little bit safer because of the level 2 J4. Secondly, J4 excels at punishing flashless, immobile dash AD carries, and look what they've locked in here. It's the Jhin. Every time I see Jhin in champ select in solo queue, I love to see it. I will always lock the J4 into him. You can just super hard punish. Once you burn that flash early game, you can also just then power farm and then go straight back to that lane with the Cataclysm. So that's super strong. And then, of course, transitioning out of a strong early game, you can just build straight tank. And then you have that team fight presence. Very strong, very disruptive. As long as you're placing your flags correctly, you can get multiple knockups in a team fight. We'll have to see if Eric Ziyang, the legend himself, can do it this game here as well.
Yeah, if anyone could do it, I'm sure that he would be the one to do it. Now, one really big pick that we were talking about before in the first round of bans is Viego, and he made it all the way through to round 2 and gets locked in for Zeus.
This composition from Zeus is kind of just mind-bogglingly crazy. You have 3 melee carries in Gwen, Viego, and Sylas, a Gragas for disruption, and then just a Jhin. Zeus wants these fights to be just crazy. They want to split up the fight, look for skirmishes, 2 versus 2s in the middle of the fight, 1 versus 1s, let Viego get these resets, allow Gwen to just be that annoying force of the team fight with the hollowed mist, just keeping her alive and tanky. Very good at protecting herself from the Varus. They have so many great options here to just play a skirmish heavy team fight. Dare, on the other hand, is looking to play a little bit more traditional with this front to back. I think Varus will still be going for that lethality build, but when you have something like a J4 Soraka, you always would be kiting out, making sure you protect your backline carries, but then you have the one here with the Varus. So they're matching the melees with Lee Sin, J4, and Darius, and then it's me, Soraka and Varus on the backline trying to stay alive against a triple melee dive with 3 very strong carries locked in for Zeus.
Yeah, absolutely. This looks like it will be more of a front to back, probably. But I mean, I was going to say, speaking of resets, Viego's not the only one in this game. Darius, if he gets rolling, can just absolutely demolish this team that Zeus has drafted. There's so much melee engage. Viego wants to be getting in there. Sylas and Gwen as well. And if he gets ahead, Darius can shut all of that down.
I'm just going to need some proof of concept here from the side of Dare. Can you shut down 3 crazy melee carries? I have never seen Gwen, Viego, and Silas all the same team. So I'm a little worried. One, for the side of Zeus, to see if they could distribute the income of this team well enough to actually sustain 3 people who need gold income to be successful in that game. And on top of that, on the other side, of course, you have Dare Gaming, who needs to be able to shut down 3 melee carries if they get any kind of lead. There's just so many threats here on the side of Zeus.
Yeah, I'm going to say both of these teams feel incredibly sort of all in, where they have this immobile sort of poke ADC and then just 3 absolute brawlers wanting to just get in there and get dirty and slap it around. And I couldn't be more excited. Yeah, absolutely, as we're getting into game very, very soon. And this is just looking to be a test, I think, of Dare. Will they be able to take this sort of unorthodox team comp and make it work? Or will Zeus try and pull out the 2-0? A lot of people were going to credit them. They're one of the highest seeds coming into this tournament, runners up in Cup, so they didn't even have to play through the open qualifiers. As we are on the Rift, welcome into Game 2, as this is really looking to just be an absolute banger.
Yeah, and one thing interesting to note, this is Darius mid, one of those champions you can pick into those melee matchups. You can also do things like the Renekton, but here with Darius up in mid lane against the Silas, gonna be happy to match that one up. To say drops on all chat saying, I love you, Darius. So the taunts kind of going back and forth between these teams. I love to see the pretty standard level 1 here as well. No one going for any kind of crazy invade wards. Doing almost a standard 5-point as J4 will be starting top side here.
Yeah, and I like this. I mean, traditionally, it used to be in the old days of one camp ganks, it was Lee Sin and J4 who would just go red buff into whatever lane was nearest. And honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing that this game, as if you can shut down Alorum's Gwen early on, it's going to be very difficult to come back in.
Alorum might be feeding his teammates as pings go down here that they're starting on this red buff. So they might not actually be able to disguise the fact that they're going for this one. Of course, Soraka and Varus getting spotted out here also going to give that one away, so they should know this one's another topside start. But also, interesting to see here from Eric Ziyang. Look at the summoner spells here from the side of Zeus. You got a flashless Gwen in top lane. High risk, high reward, right? You could start on your bot side and then look top side early. Something you could go for, but again, amateur level teams, very high level players here in this match should also be able to snip out those ganks. So it's really just kind of thinking about the game. How do you want to go about trying to snowball this map? Alorum, I think, would be a great target, but of course, Eric Ziyang, they've got a game plan on their own, looking more towards this bot side, I would guess.
Yes, absolutely. Now, this Soraka Varus lane is very, very difficult to play, as they are just going to be constantly pushed and will have very little priority. So it's really going to be on Eric Ziyang to either punish Zeus bot side aggression or look to send those resources elsewhere and just sort of concede this bot space.
Just getting slowly pushed in here. Definitely need to be a lot safer here in this lane. I really do think that they're looking to play around. It's tough to say because you can't really gank a Soraka Varus lane until he manages to get the Chains of Corruption. So early game, probably looking to play around mid lane here for Eric Ziyang, and then looking topside after that. Other side of that, Viego, probably just looking to farm up as much as possible, get that level 4, get a farm lead on this J4, and then look to pop off with a few counter ganks, turn it around with that crazy execution ultimate, and oh my god, Magic just taking the brunt of these trades.
Yes, Soraka is just so squishy early on, and Gragas Jhin a very harass-heavy lane as the 4 camp came through. Eric Ziyang did not pick up his blue buff, realizing that it's warded, just sort of going to concede and pick up that last camp before taking this bot side scuttle.
Yeah, and that's truly tragic. That ward, I mean, you either call it really, really lucky on the side of Zeus or really unlucky on the side of Eric Ziyang. Walking over it with about 3 seconds left to expire, so just barely getting spotted out. And I got another trinket there in that bush, but probably could have pulled off that gank. They were fully pushed up to tower there. Would have been hard again for the Soraka Varus to follow up on it, but if you can manage to just force out some summoner spells there, it's massive for that lane pressure.
100%. I completely agree. Being able to sort of nullify this very, very aggressive Gragas Jhin duo, as they're just looking to have those barrels harass as much as possible. But now, actually, it looks like Eric Ziyang is trying to come around the backside, go for a bit of a tri-brush gank, and here it comes. The Flag and Drag goes slightly wider. He already having to burn the heal, but it looks like that will be it, and it'll just be a little bit of breathing room for them. But it looks like the action's not over. Burn My Dread getting brought rather low as My Dream Academy stepping on forward, jumping into the mist. But I would not want to see a tower dive, as Darius is one of those champs that can just heal up out of nowhere.
Ooh.
Bullet comes in. Tuesday is getting low. One tower shot's taken. EricZyang's here. They want this fight, but if the burst comes down from Tuesday, then there won't be any response out of Dare. Really great awareness on the side of Zeus.
Yeah, watch out for those cooldowns, man. Tuesday on that Sylas, so quick to pop that health back up with that W. You're really hard to burst that one down, and Burn My Dread just not respecting the cooldowns of the Sylas. You gotta be careful, even when you're that low, and even when you're in your tower, and even when your jungler's on the way. They could just turn that one around really quickly at the small combo. Does just that, so great pickup there from Tuesday. As mostly might be in trouble here, top lane on this Lee Sin is possible setup for a dive. J4 in the wings again.
But it looks like bot side, they're really trying to make that harass work. Magi already hit with the Ignite down this early. That is really big. Just a solo kill effectively for the bot side of Zeus, really making the most out of the pressure they've been able to put together.
Yeah, no jungler needed. They just find the skill shots and find the pick. Flashless Soraka now here as well in the bottom lane, so we could also look to abuse that with an explosive cask engagement here later. Really props to Rhino. You know, Gragas isn't an easy support to make work. A little bit unconventional, especially into a long-range enchanter support. So good pickups here on their team. And oh, Modified might be in trouble here despite a minion wave.
Yeah, maybe a bit of trouble as Gwen is just deals so much damage. I mean, she snips you to pieces, and it's like you're playing rock, paper, scissors, and you're just a flimsy piece of paper whenever she just gets going. As now Burn My Dread might be caught between a rock and a hard place. Does still have both summoners. Great angled flash to avoid any potential chain angle, but still pressure exerted mid lane, and Modified could be the next one going down, having to use that ultimate to try and escape. Lorem burning theirs as well, as no more action up top side, as Modified is just going to reset.
Yeah, popping the needlework. You called Gwen the high damage if you feel like playing 50 favor. Burn My Dread in trouble though.
Oh, Burn My Dread getting brought low. The CC chain came through, and even though Tuesday missed the chain, it doesn't matter. When there's a fat man running right to you, it's still going to be a rough time, as Rhino might be getting caught out here. Magi dropping the silence, dropping the root, and that's going to be perfect. Magi picking up that kill onto Rhino. A little bit of revenge for that last kill. His practice on his way down. Maybe want to try and take this 2v3 against Tuesday in My Dream Academy, but no level 6s for this bot side of Dare.
Dangerous stuff there. We got the kill. You can manage to get out. Make sure you respect that fog. You never know where EricZyang could be lurking around. Not tracking the jungler too well there, but they managed to get a kill for themselves, getting something back here in this game, keeping themselves alive as... And really, they haven't managed to create any kind of pressure on the map anywhere. I'd say Alorm is generally winning these trades top lane on the Gwen, generally seeing Tuesday manage to win these trades in mid, and they're also roaming up with the bot pride they managed to create for themselves, but they're able to just punish Burn My Dread for walking past the halfway mark here in the melee.
100%. I mean, that's just punishing these roams, as you want to find some answers back, as this Sylas is already 2-0, and that's a scary scoreline just because it is one of those champions that when he gets ahead, and it looks like EricZyang wants to try and shut it down here. Burn My Dread getting engaged on, but I don't think he realized he's on the wrong side of this fight, as Tuesday's just going to get executed with that Noxian guillotine. Shut down for Burn My Dread.
The most important thing out of that battle... Oh, EricZyang still in trouble?
Yeah,
He's gonna be okay.
Maybe in a bit of trouble, but My Dream Academy just going to do a little harass and walk on back.
The biggest thing out of that team fight is that the Cataclysm was not used, so he could still look to punish this flashless Jhin. Or if, you know, Gragas ends up utilizing that body slam, they could also look to punish that. But mostly, just the fact that he didn't burn that means that they can look for another fight here, and teleport coming down, this might be another one.
Yeah, it looks like it's coming. Tuesday trying to get that. EricZyang picking up the smite, so Dragon already secured, and it looks like they're just going to sacrifice Burn My Dread, send him back, but EricZyang still going to have to try and escape. Ooh. Actually, maybe just a pick onto Raheen is the right call. There's no flash on this Jhin, and he's even burned heal, as this could be a bit of a brawl on the bot side. EricZyang using these cooldowns. Magi still not having level 6, no access to that Dream, and here's the counter Cataclysm out of Tuesday, and the dash forward onto practice. That's huge, as they take one kill in the Dragon for 3 of Dare's members, and potentially a 4th if EricZyang gets hit by the stun, and indeed he will. My Dream Academy picking up that last kill of the fight.
Yeah, so ultimately a little bit of miscommunication and awareness there on the side of Zeus, as Raheen unfortunately getting picked up by that Cataclysm. Flashless Jhin in the middle of a set of walls with the J4, never going to end well for him. But they still managed to find the collapse. Practice and Magi not respecting the ability of Zeus to just come down bot lane and engage on them. Also get picked up. EricZyang still off the back of that kill once his bot lane was forced out. Also getting chased out there by the Viego. So maybe a little bit too aggressive of a look. Could have just looked to get out there, but they would have traded one back for nothing. They really felt like they had to get something off the back of that Dragon, and they ended up getting one kill, but burning 3 for it.
Yeah, and I mean, Dragon and a kill, probably not worth, 3 or 4 kills going over, especially with most of them coming onto this house. 5-1 now, and with already a CS lead in his lane, 6 stacks on the Darksteel. This is a very, very scary champion that will have to be dealt with as the first priority for Dare.
Yeah, I mean, you saw how much damage they did underneath that tower to the Darius. That was before they managed to get all these kills. It'll also dive, poor practice here underneath the zone tower as well. So getting super far ahead here. It's a solo lane dilemma once again here for Dare. They just cannot match these side lanes or these solo lanes, and you had this problem last game, but also with very strong pickups, you gotta be careful. These are carries. These are hard carries in top, mid, and jungle. If they get ahead, they're just gonna snowball this game.
Yeah, and there hasn't been shutdown of the other 2 hard carries. Viego 1-0-2 in a very great spot for himself, building towards that Divine Sunder, and this Gwen up top has just been chilling. Now, Burn My Dread maybe trying to get something onto Tuesday as Eric Ziyang is in the backside with the Cataclysm still, but I mean, I'm even a little bit afraid of if they can win that 2v1 just with how strong the Sylas is going to be.
Just gotta make sure your Darius is healthy and can't get bursted down. But Eric Ziyang also gotta watch out for himself. Doesn't have any resistances, just the Iron Spike Whip and a little bit of health from that Phage to speak of. So I mean, like, also no mythics yet available on the side of Dare. You need to get these item spikes so you can start to have some kind of pressure in the game. Alarum in trouble.
Yeah, Alarum in trouble, and a great CC chain for Modified to pick up that kill. And it's as if they heard what I was saying, that they need to shut down the side lanes as the Gwen is taken out.
Yeah, 1 kill going to Lee Sin, not bad at all. I'm happy with that one. But you're gonna need to do more than that. It's a great start, but again, no real objective found. They managed to deny at least 1 wave here to Alarum.
Corruption dropped the roots here, the CC, and a great pick on the bot side as they answer back with a kill of their own. Little bit of bush cheese, but I mean, hey, I'll take some crackers with that any day.
Yeah, you know what? I respect it. When you're down and out, you gotta find ways to get creative. Go for the bush Wookiee play, just hide out in there, pick off the Gragas, get yourself some gold, and be happy with that one. So, taking advantage of the overly aggressive, I'd say, Gragas in that lane, walking just too far forward, doesn't respect the ability of the CC chain there. Chains of Corruption into that Soraka silence and snare is just very powerful.
100%. Incredibly powerful at that. I mean, and that just goes to show Magi showing lots of comfort and, skill on this Soraka. A lot of people think of her as a very straightforward, just heal bot, but there's so much that you can do with her kit, whether it's lining up silence and roots and optimizing that timing, or if it's just making sure you're getting these heals at just the right time. And maybe that comfort is going to come through for Dare this game.
Yeah, on top of the fact that they've managed to pick up a few picks, they're getting a little bit more gold back in their pockets, right? They're kind of nullifying this gold lead, so just a little bit over 1k now. I believe it was around 2k earlier. This is exactly what you need. And also, going to call out Zeus here a little bit. Give him props for finding objectives off the back of their picks last game. Here's the opposite. It's actually Dare picking up dragons, picking up some tower plates, finding picks for themselves, and finding good presence here on the map. And it's actually Zeus that's struggling. They found 3 picks there at Dragon, but yeah, what'd you really get off of it? Yeah. They need to find more than just that. They want to continue to look for the snowball here with the Siblins, and here's an engagement.
And they're looking to snowball here. Burn My Dread, actually, beautiful dream, as well as the Q combo to heal up, as Flash is burned, but still staying alive. That's what's important. Rift Herald getting dropped mid, and they're looking to transition this into mid pressure and dragon pressure.
Yeah, here comes the snowball. You got no kills available. Engagement there in top lane as well, but they'll even defend this one, actually. Cataclysm goes down.
Cataclysm goes down, but I don't think it's going to be enough. You don't have much damage to follow it up, and now Practice getting slammed right into a Sylas. Somehow still alive off those heals from Magi and his own, but this Sylas is massive. It's just going to start running over Dare's members as Burn My Dread and Magi just trying to hold on.
Yeah, that's rough. You want to defend the tower. Again, it's always the risk and reward. Either you manage to find the pop-off play, get a couple shutdowns in your pocket, but ultimately it is Zeus with the execution. They get the Herald down, they find the plates, they're rotating, not yet to Dragon, but I'd assume soon, and also finding kills with backends, and here comes the dive.
Here comes the dive. Magi just going to be taken down instantly as now Burn My Dread trying to do what he can, but the Oblivion Orb proving to be too much. My Dream Academy taking the reset, turning into that Darius, and then slaying Modified, turning into that Lee Sin, and Eric Ziyang is just sort of stuck without a team.
Yeah, I feel pretty bad for him. You walk up, the party's already over, and your team has lost. completely taking advantage of that engagement. Teleport also burned. Eric Ziang being forced out of his own jungle, can't even farm any neutral objectives. And that's just rough stuff, man. I mean, you try to get the TP down there so you can try and stop the dive. Everyone just showing up a little bit too late to really dissuade or find any kind of kills back. And Eric Ziang really wants his grump, but it might be too much.
Yeah, I think it might be too much. Does have his team on the back end. Maybe this is just an elaborate bait. Shutdown coming through. Chains of Corruption still haven't been used yet either. They might be able to transition this into some dragon pressure, or at the very least prevent just a flat-out dragon take by Zeus, as this felt like a little bit of overextension, you know, sitting in the jungle for too long when the dragon is sitting there to collect if you're Zeus.
Yeah, that was pretty silly. They had Prio, fully had the ability to come back and just clap on this dragon like you said. But ultimately, it will be going over here. Second dragon of the game, completely stalling out this soul. And if they can start to nullify this gold lead, get a few towers back for themselves, they could come back in this match. Now that's a great start. Just stalling out one of the many win conditions on the map. Because again, this will now be 4 dragons taken, assuming that they stay ahead from Zeus before Elder's available to really just close. You know, it's just a timer on the game.
It removes win conditions, I guess. In a way.
The game's just over once Elder's on the map and you manage to pick that one up. So that being stalled out for now 20 minutes gives them a chance to try and figure out something to come back in this game.
100%. I completely agree. But, you know, we saw the power of this Sylas in that last fight, just jumping everywhere, getting these massive heals and being incredibly difficult to kill. Want to see this Soraka build towards that, I believe it is Chemtech Putrefier, to try and get these grievous wounds on all of her teammates. But, you know, you need something in the meantime, whether it's an Executioner's on practice or a Bramble on modified, something that can sort of stall this Sylas out before something happens. But now, looks like maybe an engage up top side. Alorum getting ran down. Eric Ziang dropping the Cataclysm. And that invulnerability doing so much work. Praxis jumping on forward with those Chains of Corruption. That should be enough, but Alorum staying alive for so long. Actually managing to turn it around. My Dream Academy's on a killing spree. And this is falling apart for Dare. They might have gotten the Gwen, but will they get out with their lives? And no, they will not. As that was just so much time bought by Alorum so his team could get the rotate.
Man, I don't think it would have changed anything, but Eric Ziang EQ'd just outside the Hollowed Mist, which is so tragic because that means the knockup doesn't go through on Gwen. So she was able to just kind of free hit through that entire fight, pumping out the damage numbers, no CC coming her way. So that's just tough stuff. I mean, they managed to get the rotation through, so everyone coming up here to protect Alorum ultimately finally does go down. And it's a dive here on the Burn My Dread, and it's just already over before I could even toss it on over. Gone.
Yes. Just gone, as it looked like Modified might be getting dove as well. And it's really just Zeus taking the most in every single position and understanding just how strong they are at some of these points. Now, Modified looking to try and answer back. Raheem getting jumped onto, but lots of damage coming down as well. Dragon Kick used to bump Rhino away, but now here comes Tuesday, here comes the collapse, and this is falling apart for Dare. The Everfrost gets dropped, and Tuesday's on a killing spree with more on the way. Raheem getting one as well, and now something trying to get done, but Rhino slaying Modified, and Practice is caught without a team, having to flash away.
I'd question mark ping that too. As he manages to fly, force Bird Chains and the flash, and you still might go down here as the entire team collapses.
And at this point, it's really just falling apart. I mean, we said that whoever got their 3 carries ahead was going to do well, and 5-0 Viego and a 10-2 Sylas sounds pretty ahead to me.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. They tried to rotate down Eric Ziang to pick up this fight, but when you got Lee Sin J4 going up against a sustained carry plus Gragas for the peel on those dashes, plus Jin just hitting you as long as you don't manage to take him down or CC him, it's really hard to win that fight. They need to find more lopsided engagements, and it's like just Burn My Dread once again gonna go down immediately before I could toss it over to you. But they have to find these numbers advantage fights, and they're just so hard to do because it's just a great chokehold setup here from the side of Zeus.
Yeah, but we're reaching the point where even if you have a numbers advantage, I feel like Tuesday could probably 1v5 with him having 22 Magi stacks, Everfrost. And I mean, look at this. Rhino is just jumping onto the jungler, and he can't do all that much, having to flag and drag away, can't do anything aggressively. Chains of Corruption do land onto Tuesday. Nice chunk of damage, but My Dream Academy just with the tag team rotation onto Practice, as Tuesday's just going to get back up to full health off of Eric Ziang. And now it looks like here's the rest of the fight. Practice getting dove onto, stun coming down. He's in a 1v3, but he's having a great time. Just kidding. Actually, with Burn My Dread coming around, there's enough CC to lock this down. Now Burn My Dread trying to run against his own teammate. on the Viego, as My Dream Academy, with the help of Rhino, will clean up that fight. And it looks like they're trying to break the base at just 19 minutes. Tier 2 going to be falling soon, and they're looking to try and get this Tier 3.
Yeah, I believe the new hot and heavy buzzword amongst casters is happy game or happy engagement. I think that's what we saw there from Tuesday. Dashed in just a little bit too far forward with the Sylas. Kind of 1 versus 3 there for a little bit. Did eventually get the follow-up, found some kills, and they're finding this inhibitor tower and possibly an inhib. So you can't be too unhappy about that despite going down. Giving up that 1,000 gold shutdown is rough. But I think at this point in the game, you're so far ahead, you're happy to take every 5v5, and you don't even need that Eric's getting caught out.
Yeah, he's caught out, and I don't think he'll be able to do much. Trying to smite to stay alive, but Alorum just snipping him down, and I mean, there's not much else to say. You can't even step into your own jungle, as there's just so many strong members at every single way you turn. But now, Chains of Corruption actually landed. Great pick on a My Dream Academy. Rhino using the explosive cast to try and push someone in, but I don't think you want to push the Lee Sin into your team, as Rhino looks to be getting caught out next. Dragon's Kick just enough to secure the kill. Raheem might be the one next up on the chopping block, brought very, very low. Tuesday trying to turn this around, and he is just fighting, going left and right. The Darius ulti almost getting enough now. Lorm coming in with the Gwen. It was very close, and a massive heal out of Tuesday. This is huge. A 2v4 just getting completely turned around, as the call for Alorum was certainly the right one.
And that's why you blue won that pick. Gwen coming into the team fight, massive damage onto everyone that was left alive. So despite, I'll say it again, happy games here from the side of My Dreams, and I'd even say Rhino getting, picked up by Tuesday. He's going hard in the base.
I mean, that stun just dealing 40% of Practice's health. So disgusting, as Tuesday can just pick up this inhib on his own. And
fully stacked Medjais.
Yeah, fully stacked Medjais with Zhonya's in tow. This is disgusting at 21 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, like, even if you manage to CC out and then burst down Tuesday, you still got Alarm to worry about. You saw a TP into that fight late, shows up and just murders everyone. That damage is disgusting. And this is why you need to pick up one of these picks or ban them out. Of course, in that last ban phase, they felt threatened by those other picks they saw in that last match. We're not willing to give those ones away and ban out these other ones. So ultimately, it is 3 of these crazy, just insane melee carries on this draft. It is so hard to come back from once they get ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, something to note is early on, just a couple fights, couple minor engagements won by Zeus, and it gave them the capacity to do a lot. And I mean, they can just do this every single day. They see someone, they just take him down, flash burn to escape the curtain call. And actually, this looks like a bit of a collapse. 1 kill onto Raheem, but now in comes the man Tuesday, trying to make it his day of the week every single day. And now the Viego jumping on forward, Modified trying to dash on around. It's a 4v5, but I'm gonna say I still am putting it towards Tuesday and Alorum to just clean this up. The 1,000, all of those piercing shots, all the scissors snipping away, and everyone just getting cut down, as Eric Ziyang getting dove under his own tier 2 and a double kill for Tuesday.
Yeah, flashing forward, they're finding the fight. I did see Raheem going down there early in the fight, and I'm just thinking to myself, they use a lot on that AD carry. And there's still Tuesday coming in. You got to worry about the Gwen. You got to worry about the Viego. And they just run through the fight. Reset's coming through for My Dream Academy. Finds everything. You got to be careful. I mean, there's really hard to say if there's like any way they could have come out on top in that team fight. They managed to find a pick. That's good. Find something for yourself in that fight. But ultimately, it's just 3 melee carries that are so far ahead. And like you said, it's just looking tough here for Dare.
It is brutal indeed. I mean, Modified now just caught between a rock and a hard place. Tuesday and Alorum just going to be tag teaming him. Never mind, he's just going to use that Dragon Kick and do a mini insect of his own with the ulti and the E. And that's another kill going over to this 15 kills onto Tuesday this game. That is insane.
Yeah, I think I'd just chalk it to playstyle difference. Oh, actually getting caught out Eric Ziyang in the jungle and Tuesday again. Okay.
Make it 16 as Tuesday just collapsing with Rhino, using that explosive cast to knock them on in. And right now, it's just a matter of time of when will Zeus just group up to try and close this game out. And it looks like this might be it. They're looking for the bot inhibitor as well. Get as much going for them as possible. And I mean, once you have 2 inhibs going at 23 minutes, where you're already behind, it just feels bad.
Yeah. I did see a blue ping go down for Baron, so we might end up seeing that neutral objective.
Maybe. Modified doing some really fancy footwork, as no one's gone down in this fight quite yet. Magi flashing away. Tuesday trying to get the collapse. misses the chainsaw to practice and has diving for that and is dominating now as Burned by Dread trying to do something against Tuesday, but he is just too much, healing up for half his health bar with every single W cast. Fountain finally going to be able to take him on down. Eric Z Yang getting drained down by My Dream Academy as this could be it if Zeus wanted to, but instead Rhino's off on a wild goose chase and Alorum was taking wolves, and it still looks like yes, this is still looking like it will be close to the game. Eric Z Yang not really clearing out the minions. Maybe just afraid of My Dream Academy, but it looks like they will save one Nexus turret.
You know, I'm afraid of My Dream Academy, so I totally understand Viego. Terrifying champion to go up against in the jungle, and he has shown here why it is one of those S-tier power picks there in the draft. Baron now getting picked up, and you've got to be thinking that this will be the game, but with how they're playing like they all drafted themselves for fantasy. And they're just like trying to farm up kills, points, objectives. They're doing just that now. They'll pick up the Baron. Don't necessarily need it. More of a formality. They're going to back, make sure they can hit every single item spike that they want. Pick up all these things. Tuesday, again, with that Medjai's. I got to believe that somewhere out there they said, we got to get Tuesday 20 kills, and they're determined to meet that metric.
I believe that. That could definitely be what's going on in the comms. Gonna have to ask them at some point after the game. Just go tweets like, "Yo, Alorum, were you trying to feed up Tuesday?" No, but absolutely insane score lines coming down, and it was really just a toss-up at draft where we knew that one of these squads would have their melee carries pop off, and for this game it was Zeus. They just understood what to do at every second. And Eric Z Yang just dropping the flat Cataclysm and then dashing away. Raheem's still somehow alive. Heal gets popped as it seems like they're just sort of sitting around having a little bit of fun. While then Modified now jumping forward, the wrong direction curtain call as Modified picks up a kill. And it's just a matter of waltzing down. Alorum doing what he can. Tuesday looking to get closer and closer to that 20 bomb as they're looking to, again, as you said, pad the stats, max out every single objective, get it on their player card so that they can have maximum fantasy points. I don't even know if there is Risen Champions League fantasy, but regardless, Tuesday would be at the top of the leaderboard as actually getting bonked back forward into the fountain. It's going to be good. Might not make it to that 20 kills after all, and no, getting shut down as now the Nexus will be falling. It's just a matter of time for Alorum to snip at it away, and that will be it. Zeus taking the 2-0 over Dare White. Eventually. Yep.